All right. Good morning, everybody. This is the bicycle, pedestrian and traffic safety meeting. In by calling the meeting to order, please, and having a roll call. I'm Ed Holland, Chair.
Kevin Welch.
Angela Hay.
Pat Bainan.
Thank you, everybody. That constitutes a full committee as we stand at the moment. Item 2 is, sorry, I do need to open up the computer so that put it. Okay, that's it. So item 2 is oral communications for items not on submit. Anybody in the committee or anybody attend either online or in person has something not on the agenda, please go ahead. Do I see any new items or anybody want to raise anything?
And, or if it's something that is already part of our discussion. But I wanted to talk about reintroducing traffic cameras, speed cameras. And I don't know where that would fit in our agenda.
Yep, that's an interesting quote. I think there's something we want to add on as a
Yeah,
significantly important and stands on its own.
okay, very good. So, I guess that this is the time to see if we can. add-
Absolutely, yeah, this is a good way to introduce.
Okay, well, it seems as though, the speed camera has a lot of advantages. It regulates everybody. We, turn it on, turn it off. There's all sorts of things we can camera people. Chances are they will speed till they get to the camera and then slow down. Same story, but this way, if someone does go through speeding, we'll have record and we'll have revenue. So, I just would like to have that, something to be looking into, this technology. So it's going to be extensive as far as looking into the details. But, that's what I would like to start.
Yeah, I mean, I think we first off need to know what the installation cost. They'll likely end up splitting the revenue between town and who get that from.
Okay,
Oh,
we
Shut the door.
we can close the door,
Close the door.
but yeah.
very good.
Thank you, Pat. I think
Yeah.
that's possibly constructive. Kevin, do you have something?
Yes, I do. A lot of the cities now are going from 25-mile-an-hour speed zones around the school to 15 miles an hour around schools. I think that should be on our agenda, since we're hearing a lot from the parents around the school, some of the people. Number one. Number two, e-bikes, a new subject. There's a company out there, I believe, and I think we should have that on our agenda in the future.
Well, actually, what I would like is, I was in Cambridge in England, and at a shopping mall, they were having practices on scooters, that you can rent, mobility scooters. I'd like to have a practice here on a scooter before I go and rent one. So maybe when we're talking about we also talk about scooters.
Okay, if you individually like to agenda item and send that to me. I can incorporate something on based on those thoughts. Thank you both.
It's in our file.
Item 3, moving on, if there are no further oral communications, we'll be moving on to approval of our minutes from the June. Apologies that those are somewhat sketchy, but I had to work from the and distill it down. But I think I captured all of the important votes and motions.
Do you have it turned on now on AI?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you should make sure that's on. Let's see if I can.
I don't like AI.
But
At all.
it writes excellent.
Start summary, start meeting question.
Good, I found it.
Switched on. The summary is turned on.
Oh, that's good.
It's being transcribed. It's
Okay. Thank you, Pat.
Sorry, I know you guys moved on to this appendix, page 404 appendix, items for consideration. I'd love to also add potentially for you guys to consider parking manager.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
that's also in our plan.
Would you like that included as just a general oral communication or suggestion for future agendas? Yes. Okay. All right, thank you. Moving back to approval of the minutes, does any meeting minutes before we move on?
I approve the minutes.
Okay. Do I have a second for the?
They're very sketchy, though.
I know.
I would take a second on that.
You know, but I had nobody to take notes
That's what happened.
and I had to work. You know, it took me an hour and a half to do that, going through
After.
one line, poorly transcribed, a timestamp, one line. But it was a nightmare. So I do apologize for the quality of the minutes, but if we're agreed,
Thank you for doing that.
so I propose that we accept the minutes.
Mhm.
All in favor of accepting?
Aye.
Right, thank you, to
Aye.
everybody. Item 4 would be our sheriff's report, and I will point out that Captain Del Porto at least twice with the details of the meeting time, location, and he has not responded. He, and the first approach, he said it's going to be, so I forwarded as soon as we agreed the next meeting time for today, and then heard nothing back. So it's very disappointing. Can't get anything done in a situation like this. We're not receiving reports. We're not able to liaise with them to ask attention or presence in town, particularly to direct that. So not good. I should be sending him another email today. For them to follow up with the sheriff as well. Yeah, I could definitely. Yep, absolutely. All right, thank you. Item 6 on our agenda is normally our pub 8. I know we don't have Robert with us. Robert's around this week. Yeah, that's fair enough. I think the only thing I'd like to discuss with him is plan which the council agreed was to augment the signage in relation to Windy Hill parking on Portola Road, which we were looking to extend. I mean, we had that all planned out at one point.
Yes, it's in Mr. Krupke's report.
Well, if Mr. Krupke says it's true, then it must be going ahead. That's good. I have no idea. It was something we were discussing with Howard ahead of. So, but it's like 4 signposts. The budget is like 250. I'm making that figure up, but it's not many thousands, so. I can discuss that with Robert offline. That brings us on to section 6, which is our ongoing committee business. I put first and foremost, because this is the objective, and that will be proposing that we move our meetings Friday of each month. As a change from the first Wednesday of each month, running this as a special meeting, variation for the last 3 meetings. And I think for that change, we had the agreement committee. And so I'm just looking to carry that forward, and we have to make a. I think we have to recommend, yeah, we have. And then I think it has to be approved by the council as well, because that's a charter change. So would that be, that would involve making a vote on that here, and then writing to the town clerk to ask that to be agendized on a council meeting. Yeah. Well, then presumably town clerk takes care.
So I propose that we advise the town clerk that Friday at 8. First
First
Friday
Friday
of
in
the
each
month, first Friday.
Somebody other than me second that.
I
please?
second that.
Thank you, Pat. And show of hands in favour. Okay, that's carried unanimously. Thank you, everybody. I think that should help us be on a firm footing. Perhaps we can work on some recruiting as a next. Very light as a committee at the moment. So thank you. I will take the action to notify the town. Right, 6B is the main event today. Safety plan. I have to thank both Pat and Angela for working on that and drafting a document, which we will review here today. And I don't know if, very grateful if you'd give a little bit of presentation and overview,
Okay,
and then we can move forward.
let's do that.
Or just a discussion.
I will go parts of the report. Okay, so there's an executive summary, a description of and the reason is because the county has a plan, and each town in the county to say what we will do, and it's a list of what we would like to do. And when we apply for a grant, there'll be a checkbox that'll say, is it in a local road? Check that box. And so our methodology, it talks about the methodology, and it talks about our town vision. And our vision, Portola Valley aims to improve roads and trails to accommodate population growth and natural disasters, as well as fostering traffic safety. And that is part of our general plan. I did not put vision 0 deaths or serious injuries, which the county wants, which the county has. In part, we had, in the last 10 years, we haven't had any deaths, or one death in 2015, end of 2015, so it's almost 10 years ago. But apart from that, we haven't had road. So we have very, very few accidents. And of the 89 accidents, 51 were on bicycles, and the 51 on bicycles, a very large number or a cyclist coming down a hill and a car turning up. Anyway, our goals are to promote and recommend actions to reduce crash casualties and road deaths in Portola Valley, and to reduce the number of crashes over the next 5 years by 20. So from 20 to 24, there were 36 crashes. These are reported crashes. I would absolutely emphasize that crashes by the San Mateo County Sheriff's Office, which then goes to the California Highway Patrol, and then it gets in the SWITTers database. But anyway, according to these numbers, and we know there are many, many more bicycle crashes and all car crashes. There were 36 crashes, 2 involving pedestrians, and 23 of those 36 were involving cyclists, with 43 people injured and 13 people severely. And so we want to reduce those number of crashes by 25%. Another thing is we want to increase our connect local cycling group. Tell them that it's dangerous to come downhill and that you've got to cycle with wide eyes and wear bright clothes and have lights on your bikes and things like that. We want to maintain the infrastructure, and that includes maintaining our roads, sidewalks, slopes, road edges. We want to promote safe and reasonably expeditious movement for local residents and minimize the through traffic. So through traffic comes when 280 is blocked and people come here, and I don't know whether we want to go to Google Maps and Waze and things, and like town of Los Altos may want to do some stuff like that. We want to work with law enforcement, and our goal is to obtain monthly reports from San Mateo County Sheriff's Office to ensure that citations for excessive speed, unsafe turning, illegal parking, and are issued. And we want to ensure that we get a monthly report, and we also want to ensure that the Sheriff's Department closes the road temporarily when we have a race and directs vehicles to appropriate parking spaces. And we want to work with the CHP to obtain literate town events. And so then we want to support activities that traffic safety, like going to our town town picnic and things like that. And then we want to ensure that town committees work together to advise council on. And so then we've got measurable objectives. So if we reduce our crashes by 25%, then we're looking at no more than 27, no more than 2 pedestrians involved, 17 involving cyclists, 32 people injured severely. And so then we've got our other things. We want to make sure the sheriffs turn up. That's part of our goal. Measurable objective. Count how many times they turn up. Recruit at least a volunteer to liaise with safe routes. Hold at least one evening meeting a year. To reach out to at least 5 bike clubs with organized rides to make sure that people cycle safe. Ensure that at least one BPS member receives notice of at least 80% of the rides that are. And if personal schedules and event rules permit, ensure that we help at least 2 town events, either by having a table there to educate or by advising or helping with and parking, and ensure that grant opportunity by town staff in larger towns. And then we have a list of stakeholders, and then we have people who influence, and then we have our crash data, which has things, interestingly, for a dark sky town, we don't have many crashes at night. And interesting, our crashes at school don't involve school children. They tend to involve cyclists and cars. So the fact that a school is there is actually to do with increasing traffic, increasing crashes. And then the important thing about potential projects that we're going to do is I have made these a little bit vague so that if we apply for a grant, then we can say, well, we thought about that. So this is where people might want to look very carefully through the priorities projects, because something that I put as a priority C, we may decide is priority. But anyway, I put in some things. So we may want signage or lights at junctions, top 3, crashes to warn vehicles of downhill bikes. You know, if there's a bike in a tunnel, you can get a flashing light. And I don't know if you wanted to do that. If someone's coming downhill, have a flashing light, start turning. I just put the, because I'm thinking of absolutely everything we. Another thing we might want is sharrows, particularly on West, sharing the road where there isn't a bike lane or a shoulder. The trail signs are totally inadequate, because they don't say where bikes, they say when bikes can come or not come, but they're very, very small and they're at right angle person on the bike. So you can, I've stopped many bikes on trails saying, you know, you're not supposed to bike on this trail. And Google Maps will tell them that this is a good trail to bike on. And so we may want to update our town trails in signage and white lines on Westridge. Many of the trails of the roads on Westridge are little cul-de-sacs that come signs, and we have been asked before to put signage and white lines, and Mr. Krupke also in his report of 2019 noticed this too. One of the things that happens with drunk drivers, the drunk drivers tend not to have crashes on what would be called a high accident freeway. We have high accident freeways or Alpine and Portola Road because they're where most accidents happen. But it turns out that when people are drunk, they tend to run into things up on Westridge on smaller roads. And so I'm suggesting that we may want to put reflectors or something on corners so that people can see things. And another thing is we don't have signs for, we might want to have route signs like, you know, the mountain bike route to this goes this up Alpine Road up.
Do you have any official bike?
Yes, they're
do.
all on the county.
They
They're
are?
on the county. They're on the county plan. I've seen a presentation at the Silicon Valley Bike Coalition that showed an official route going up
Designated
Alpine
cycle
Road.
routes.
We
Okay.
know nothing about these things.
No.
And so that's why they need to be in our plan and either say it's not a route or it is a route, right? And so that's the thing. Mitigations for the dazzling sun. Mr. Krupke suggested that we had a sign saying, dazzle you. The police have also suggested to me that people clean their car windows because that's a big cause of crashes, particularly when the sun is shining on Alpine Road when you're coming up and Portola Road when you're going along towards Woodside. So
I think you can ticket somebody for dirty windows.
yeah, well, anyway, I mean, you know, we could ask Mr. Ramey's. And I mean, yeah. That's right, you could do it yourself. Well, you could put a sign there. Something. But anyway, just a thought. Flashing lights on stop sign. You know, where is it? I'm always seeing a flashing light on a stop sign somewhere. Somewhere. I'm always going through one that's got little flashing lights. Oh, it's the gym. Cañada College. Cañada College stop sign has little LED lights around the stop.
My workplace does now. On the
Okay,
way out,
so that might be, and also we might want to put flashing lights on crossings about them. Okay, and then we might want animal warning signs at the town entrance somewhere. We've mentioned that.
Yep, that's another agenda item.
And then the ones to sprawl and traffic flow. So these suggestions come under headings. So increasing speeding violation citations, that's having somebody somebody from the police watching people speeding and catching them. And then illuminated speed signs with license plate reading and traffic flow around the Priory School might help traffic flow. I noticed there's some building at Priory. Is that a new road they're building at the Priory? Yeah, so anyway, there might be some stuff to do there. And another big thing in Portola Valley is clearing the lines of sight and vegetation places. Now, I should have put the cameras in there, but they come in a different place somewhere. Oh, speed humps we may need on some roads. So yeah, no, it is in this section. Speed cameras with a bit of speed limit violators. Outreach to mapping companies to encourage residents to report errors on maps, particularly where where Google says we can bike on trails that biking sign, or we might. This is a safe route to school, and people should bike on these trails, and then we should change the signs to say. Then, in long term, we might want. And then in the schools, we want to ensure that all crosswalk have either lights or flags, and that the markings are yellow and so forth. We want to ensure the school driveways have traffic control signs. I think that was the 2019 report, but it was in the 2019 pedestrian safety study. And set the school speed zones to 15 miles an hour. And reclaim the trail at the edge of Corte Madera Road to make a safe route to school. So on Corte Madera Road, when it was built, there was obviously that has been encroached on by various resident gardens. And we've had people ask, could we make a safe route up Corte Madera School? That in. Metering lights to control school congestion was Booker's report. Outreach to cycle. So now we get cyclists. Outreach to cycle club. Contact the ride organizers via campaign, and trail warning signs and warnings for cyclists of crashes at site junctions. I don't know if we want to go as strong as the flume ride up at Lake Tahoe where they died at, with a picture of them, or whether we want to put a white bicycle. I think if we do have a death on a bicycle, we should white bicycle. Well, that's what around here. But I mean, we might want to do some warnings and so forth of junctions. I'm not quite
Angela,
sure.
if I may interject and ask a question, have you covered the area we've discussed before? The town policy on permitting.
I just said that we have to get
I beg your pardon.
we have to get information. That's one of our goals, that we get information.
Okay.
Now, whether the town
you.
policy on should be, Woodside cancelled a ride last year, a big ride, because of the road, yes. And so I'm not sure whether we actually want policy of permitted that.
Yeah.
That could be something that you might want to consider.
Yeah, that's where I was heading.
Yeah, I'd be loath to stop. We have such excellent cycling infrastructure. I'd be loath to stop any big through here.
Oh, yeah, that's not the point, but the question has been brought
Yeah,
to coordinate things.
yeah. We have permitting, and I think we normally tell people to pick up the arrows immediately. Certainly Pescadero, they say if there's a ride on a weekend, by Monday, they the road. So update on the town website with no. We used to have a list of all the rides coming through on the town website. I don't think that page has been updated for years. And another thing is make a class 1 bike lane along Alpine Road to. We have a bike trail going down from Roberts Market to Alpine Hills and it crosses at Alpine Hills. That trail is not really a class 1 bike lane. Quite wide enough. It doesn't have a yellow line. It could be made into a class 1 bike lane. Saying that's the highest priority, but it could be. And the only reason it would be made a higher priority, area there where people may want to
Does
have a
that
nice.
distinguish between a bike? I understand to be to the side of,
That's a
or
class
is it-
2.
oh,
The class 1 is when you have a separated bike path, and
no,
it has
path
to
was
be
the word I was,
path. Yes, yes. Yeah, I guess they call it bike lane class. And then we might also want at the end of to Ormondale, there's a rough bit there, and it you may I don't know if you paved it, made it look like a class 1 bike lane, just that little bit at the end of Georgia Lane. If people would be more likely to back, I don't know if it was smooth and you didn't get gravel in your chain. But anyway, that was another one. And then from the town centre to Alpine Road, when the plans were being done for the town centre, there was in one report a draft of doing a paved trail, class 1 bike lane from the town centre to Alpine Road. I don't know if that's ever been done, and it would cost a lot of money, but I'm putting it in there in case we ever want. And then a separated paved bike lane on Skyline Drive, Route 35, and that would have to go for people, but we've been asked about that.
Yeah.
And now we get into pedestrians and crosswalk. And one of the things is to improve the deteriorating sidewalks in Port. I did a complete. That's only because in sometimes when you apply for a grant, it says, have you done complete streets or do you have complete? And a complete street, it has a whole lot of definitions to do with equity and things, but the idea is that bicycles, pedestrians, and in our case, horses and cars are all accommodated for on that street, okay? And if you take a lot of our little cul-de-sacs, there's actually no provision for bikes, but they're quiet enough. Yeah, but if someone says, well, streets, we can why. So I went through every single valley to see, did it have a sidewalk? It turns out Portola Valley Ranch almost sidewalk, but they are deteriorating badly. And the responsibility, if there are tree roots under the sidewalk, that is the responsibility of the homeowners association. If they just need paving, that is the responsibility of the town. And we did have some leftover asphalt from one projects to actually go and resurface one of the sidewalks in Portola Valley Ranch, but some of them are deteriorating. Up to the town whether we want to put some money resurfacing some of those. Flashing lights on crosswalks is another area where we need some money to improve the crosswalks that don't have lights on them. And then we may need some new crosswalks in Stamford Town. There are another couple of places where you might want a crosswalk. One is at the end of Echo Lane, and the other is near the Hill Trail that goes parallel to Hillview across Alpine. You can come, there's a place to come off the Alpine Trail. There's a place on the other side, but there's nothing crossing. And if we have hikers from the Woods property, Hawthorne's property, there may need to be a crosswalk there, and that would help slow the traffic on Alpine. And so to ensure the hiking trails are accessed by crosswalk there. And then we get on to education and outreach. So we have to have outreach to law enforcement, as has been already. Outreach to drivers, outreach at town events, work on safe routes to school, have an evening meeting, outreach to bars and restaurants. We have very few drunken driver things, but I think we need to remember bartenders have their responsibility if they see drunken drivers and so forth. Parking plan. This was mentioned. Parking plan implementation for town-owned car parks Windy Hill Hiker, no parking signs, Alpine Inn, no parking signs. Maybe we need money for all those things. Open space parking, parking near hiking trails. Emergency plans, second exit from Alpine Inn car park, sign done there. Signs to inform residents how to find evacuation. And a third lane option. And then I also said that one should refer to our 2019 things to improve in that list. And some of them were implemented, some were not. And I wasn't going to copy out all the done. So there's some things in there. And then our expected impact of all this is reduce the number of fatalities, reduce the number of accidents, reduce the number of, this is from, these are just boilerplate words that's in everyone's plan, I think. Reduce the number of fire service responses to road accidents, and then how we will maintain and monitor these things. It'll mainly be maintained by the Public Works Department, the BPTS Committee, the Planning Commission, ASCC, and other committees. And the Town Council approves the expenditures and projects. And we would keep minutes and reports, and we expect to keep reports on the accidents. And we will keep issues on track. And then we have appendices, links to our sources, a complete streets analysis. We have, I don't know, let's see. We have traffic counts that came from the Hawthorne study, and a lower bound on our traffic counts from our signs, which don't always count everything. And then I did put input all in Ladif. That could be cut, but it stressed about how he looked at the stress that drivers have. And then we've got a heat map for where people actual cyclists. What I was concerned about is, do a lot of cyclists go over Westridge? And looking at the Strava heat map, Strava's a tracking app that tracks mainly cyclists, but it also tracks hikers, so they hikers as well. But I found actually the heat map does show quite a lot of cyclists go over West. Then I put the details for the crash location, what kinds of crashes happened. And then Appendix G is the hazard maps. We have hazards that don't exist in a lot of towns. One is sliding at the side of the soil slides into the road. And we also have earthquake shaking on the San Andreas Fault. We could easily need our road cracks in faults that go across the road that just have minor shaking, but they could make holes in the road, making them unsafe. And then we've got fire hazard too. So fire hazard is another thing that we have to look at with how the brush and tree cutting and so forth is done. And then we've got a whole load of residents' comments. I did a very quick survey. I will admit it was very biased. It was not necessarily, I do know how and make them two-sided. I was looking very quickly to get ideas of what people wanted, knowing what biased towards, a little bit towards what we wanted. It was also biased to people who read forum. So it was not, but to mitigate that, I actually had a couple of sessions in the library where I spoke to librarians and people. So that way, we tried to cover people who weren't, they really didn't show up. And so anyway, I have the results of our little survey where it was quite clear that people want to preserve the rural environment.
Thank you very much. And again, thank you for all the effort that's been put into. I think one thing I'd like to make clear, and please correct me if I'm not right on this point, but this is an expression just opening up all the possibilities that if we apply for a grant, somebody can come back and say, well, you never mentioned that in the past. You can say, well, no, we have it in our, this is something we've identified in the past.
What, yes, what a,
Doesn't, I
Yeah.
beg your pardon.
Sorry.
It doesn't mean that we're bound to take on any of these projects, not committing the town to unwittingly.
yeah, I think what we need to look at is our priority. In a way, it is a roadmap, but it is not our strategic bicycle plan, which we also need for our own, we also need a strategic circulation plan for all our transport in Portola Valley. So this has, yeah, this is our local priorities. And I would like everybody to look through the priorities because Pat has raised the point that I put cameras as a C on A, B, C, D. And we may want to look at priorities. Cameras as a higher priority. So I'd like everyone to look through the priorities and adjust those as needed. But I mean, the point is that we've got a draft.
No, I think that's important.
Thank you for all of that work and extensive.
I beg your pardon, Pat.
Oh, Angela put in an awful lot of time.
Yeah. Take a moment to appreciate. There's a lot in there, and I think it gets us through this hurdle that we've been trying to get over for quite a while now. Move on to the thing. Satisfies that request from the county. Get along with it. Committee business, because this has been hanging over us for quite some time.
Absolutely.
I want to thank Angela, and also, we have already had our priorities done by Mr. Paul Krupka way back in
Well, he looked,
2017, and then those will be included. correct? So,
yes, there's a link, there's a link. But his was focusing highly on pedestrians, less. The other thing is that when Kittle did the reports, the consultants that did the reports for the town, when they were looking at junctions, they also looked at the severity of crash. So they put a weighting on how severe the crash was. We only looked at the number of crashes, and I think that's perfectly fine for us. We don't need to put weightings on all these severe crashes because whether someone gets hit seriously or just feels pain because a car comes into them, the past is not a good predictor of the future.
It does establish some patterns, areas for concern though, but I think we've captured that well and
Yeah.
discussed that here.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to.
Couple of times, certainly at the last meeting, and identified those, I wouldn't call them hotspots, but the priority areas.
One of the things I like to see though, or most of the accidents are bicycle accidents. I know that.
Yes.
We're not getting enough enforcement on bicycles. I know that for a fact as well.
Well, I actually know that 2 of males, according to Strava, 2% of males.
Oh, no question about it. And hopefully women do as well.
There are very few women, actually, in the list of women, very few women exceed the speed limit. I think 8 women. One's Linda Jackson, who I met at the gym.
Linda Jackson, 5-time Olympian, 5-time Jackson.
We just put in rapid flashing beacons down there by Alpine Hills. So I have a tendency to go Saturdays and cross that back and forth. 2 weeks ago, okay, I walked across that thing 25 times. There was 17 bicycles that violated my right of way. Only one stopped
Absolutely.
coming down that hill. Only 1 out of 18 bicycles stopped for me to cross with a rapid flashing beacons and holding the, as you know, we have the flags there as well. I was holding the flag, I'll cross them very nice and gently across that. I was surprised at 18 bicycles, only 1 stopped.
Good place for a camera.
Yeah,
Yep.
and we do outreach to cycling groups to do that. You know, there was a proposal that cyclists don't stop at stop signs. I mean, this got to the state level that cyclists sort of sneak through stop signs. And it's one of the things that annoys me very much on group rides. I always try to put my foot down stop sign Because I think if you go through on a bike, when you get old, your tendency on a car will also be to, you know, and I believe that we should encourage stopping
Yep.
at places where they're flashing signs. I stopped on the Alameda. That's another thing I'll bring about it.
And it comes down to if cyclists want the respect on the road users, they have to abide by the rule. Going sure to
Absolutely.
play along.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think we can write flat tire newsletter, and I don't know what other bike clubs have newsletters, but I think we should have a boilerplate article that send out to people.
I
to
would
put in the
like-
newsletter.
As the pelotons come through, your rider, what's the deal with those guys? They don't stop.
They stop for, I mean, they are very good at going past slow bikers. I will say that they don't stop for stop signs, but they sometimes do. So
They
would
have the right to do that.
no, they should stop. They should stop at stop signs. They always stop at out of a restaurant.
Don't
Because
have-
the
don't
line
have
of
to.
sight is very dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that they stop there.
But like,
What do they stop at? Alpine Road and Portola sometimes, sometimes not. It depends. Oh,
It depends on the ride leader more than anything. in
the
those
leader of the ride, is that right, Pat?
Because, and I think that, you know, by adding those beacons, it's really an appropriate time for us to do some outreach because we've added, this is something new. This is something that, our expectation as far as what we expect behaviorally to change with those beacons, it wouldn't be a bad idea to reach out and let what we're up to, what we're thinking about, the consistency across the board as far as everyone following. That's kind of the goal, but I don't think it would hurt us to reiterate that in a more informative education way. We can reach out to Western Wheelers. I can reach out to the ones that are listed. We have 5 listed. I can handle 4 of those. So, but I do think outreach in that situation is a great place.
and we should, Western Wheel from the ride leader. And so we can say that in your safety talk, if you're Valley, I mean, they give other safety talks, like, if you're going through Hollister, look for the cracks in the road, something. So they can have the thing, if you're coming through Portola Valley, you better stop at the stop.
Yeah, we're taking it seriously.
The accidents or bicycle accidents we're seeing, so why not
Yeah.
help them to encourage people to obey the law?
But there are also a lot of solo riders. Maybe one should put a sign at the top. A lot stop at the time. I often go Upper Alpine. And a lot stop at the end where it gets rough, the road riders. Maybe one needs a sign, caution going down Alpine. I mean, people have those kind of signs.
It should be common sense.
It should be.
Anyway, I think we've had a great discussion. I don't want to get
No.
in because our goal here is have a review of the plan, which I've done to a reasonable extent. I don't know if I'd like to put that out. I would like to put that out to comment from Helen and Rebecca, if you have anything to say. Nobody will do.
First, good morning. So
Oh.
thank you so much for this. This is a great first draft. Amazing. Three small comments. I don't think your 25% crash injury very clear on your bullet. Because then you go on no more than 27 crashes, 2 involving pedestrians, 17 involving cyclists, and that would be helpful. I also feel like you've talked a lot about enforcement of speed to help with the crashes. I think something else that needs to be stressed is we need better infrastructure, our hotspots. Right?
What would you suggest? Because it's very hard in Portola Valley, given that racing cyclists are not going to want humps in the road, which you consider, you know, you could say have a stop sign at every intersection. That's not going to fly, you know.
Well,
So,
but so if you look at the Thames map, and I'm not an or hot Estridge Road, and I'd love to see a map of the hotspot. It's
but
not,
we have the map. Have you actually read the plan?
yeah. Somehow maybe I missed that one because I
this-
saw that the map with all of the and then the hotspot. So, these are like
I think in
might
the
have missed
append,
it, right? I might have-
in the appendix, I went through every single hotspots written out. And so I didn't think there was a need for the map. They're nearly all act. So I
Yeah.
didn't see the need to do a map.
Yeah.
Um,
But like I was looking for, to help the prioritization. So that's just, these are my personal is, I would absolutely discuss better infrastructure at these key.
but what would you do?
Again, I am not an engineer. I work with engineers and they, right? Cars pulling off of out of Westridge, for instance, right? And people.
No, not plows coming up Portola Road and turning across the line.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I'm talking about, oh, okay. So,
So
exact-
nearly always, it's the cyclist coming down and the
Yeah.
car comes up and to cross
So-
because they don't see
right.
this.
So
That's
Re-
nearly
re-
always.
things you
re-
can guys, whether, I mean, I don't love workshops, right? As a bicyclist, you don't like them, but there are things to do to slow down traffic calming
Yes,
ideas.
yes,
So there
That will-
are opportunities. They're just my,
yes.
but
I vaguely put signs, white lines at junctions. That's what I vaguely put, sort of,
Okay.
because I don't want to impede the traffic flow, and I don't think anyone in does, so that was just,
but I think infrastructure improve.
okay,
Okay,
fair
does that make
enough,
sense?
fair enough.
The other thing that I think should be highlighted is if it's, highly, we have a number of acts, 12 is the right? And that's because of our recreational opportunity. And so I love the community outreach to the dealers and such, but I also, we definitely, this, and it's the recreational so, these infrastructure improvements, because, our loop is a regional amenity that people enjoy. But we need to work. Does that make sense? That I would highlight those
yes.
recreational opportunities, not just
Yes.
for folks in town. So those are my comments. I think it's a fabulous first draft. Thank you for everything.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Rebecca, do you have something? Okay, let's move along quickly because we're already time's up on our.
First, I just really want to thank Angela and Pat for immense amount put into the quality. A very minor thing, just correct that I'm the liaison for CCAG and Helen is actually the liaison for BPTS. So there's,
Yes, I think I got that wrong.
yeah, so that's
So,
update. They're
and is Mary Hufty the,
alternate. I
speaker?
don't- No,
I know the CCAG alternate on,
Mary is the CCAG.
Yeah.
She can go
I-
alternate,
I-
and
I'm the alternate. Mary is.
she's also the sheriff's liaison.
Mary is. Well, we'll check it out. And get
I
back to you.
pulled these. So that's where I got them from, I think, but,
It's not updated, I don't think.
okay, well, very good.
I did have a kind of I was a little confused. Actual final vision statement is, so if you could clarify that, just.
There's no summary of the report. I didn't have time.
Does
So-
it
so-
require one?
It's in the
Yes.
executive summary. The executive summary is exceeding I was hoping Pat could clean it up.
I can.
I mean, you could actually just I and say, you just stick the document in and it will do it in 2 seconds. So it's very simple. But I think in the end, the vision statement, that's just an abbreviated, maybe at most 2 lines or even
Well,
one
we
line.
have the vision statement in the question is, the vision is not what the county want. The county vision 0, okay? I
Um,
deliberately didn't put that in.
Right. Well, no, CCAG, when I had my onboarding session with Sean Charpentier, even though the county may want Vision 0 for the purposes of the LRSP, they just want Portola Valley to commit to need to be Division 0. It could ever, it could be 25%,
mean,
it could be to
it was-
50%, or it could not even have percentage. I just would like to have
Okay.
it clarified what you're committing to.
I
So-
mean, our vision is to look rural. That's what comes out more than anything else.
But how do you, they want a vision that's related to,
Yes,
so you can do safety in the context of
yeah.
a rural community. So that would be thing. The other thing I would like to get a sense what the next step, getting this document finalized, because I mean, I feel like it's at a point where there are very minor things that need to be corrected. There's a whole bunch of typos,
Yes.
these little
I-
things
I
like that.
noticed
But
that.
I think from a substance point, it's
So I think
perfect
through the
as it
chair,
is.
I'd say, what I would look to do today is make sure, or reach the point where we agree to recommend this to the council. Perhaps pending changes, we can agree things pending minor changes. Once that document is ready, that can come to you at council, but we can agree that today, because there'll be no major shifts in what it
Right,
says.
yeah. I think if you agree pretty much the added, on all the suggestions for improvements, I think that's a perfect,
And again, this doc,
I don't even think you can, it could call it a placeholder. I think it's an extra document.
absolutely, I don't mean to talk.
So, yeah, I mean, if it's going to be, going to recommend it today to go to council for approval, I guess we just need to figure out the logistics of getting the little corrections for that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think what I would like to have Zoom session at, I don't know if I can, because of the Brown Act. Well,
No, you can't. It has to be a subcommittee with two
okay.
of you, but
So
you,
we need to go through the priorities together and make sure they're right, okay? And then how do we get Ed Ed doesn't like, or Kevin doesn't like the things. Can we do that outside a meeting? One copy.
No.
You guys might want to think about trying to do and publicly agendize it, and then it's, and have a meeting one evening.
Yes,
You don't have to be in the schoolhouse, and you
we
could,
can be in the library or some.
right, you could do a study session as long as public, and I'd work with our clerk, Veronica.
That's a good idea. That's a flipping good.
So that you can hammer out the priorities.
That'd be good. Let's do that. And what, we give a week's notice?
Yeah, I'd work with Veronica
yeah,
Depp,
talk to,
clerk, who's,
just email PV Town Clerk. Veronica will
That's
answer.
open
She's-
to the public,
sorry?
open to the public.
Would
Exactly,
have to be, yeah.
right, so that then you're not in violation of the Brown Act, so why not,
Yeah.
right, so it needs to be agendized. I don't think it would have to be on Zoom necessarily. It might,
I don't think anything has to be on Zoom.
I don't know what our Zoom policy is, so it has to align with our Zoom.
Well, we could say it's in the library. We could take. That's,
Or reach the most people.
yeah, yeah. So we could just do it like that.
Right, yeah.
And we just get the town clerk to. And the question is, when's the next, what town council meeting want to,
That's what I was
Present
going
that.
to ask is, what's her perspective?
No, I think that-
That,
Is
That
there a
part of it can-
deadline on this also?
No.
No, it was supposed to start at the beginning of 2023. And they, you know, we should have had like over a year to write this report. And it should have been done years
Yeah,
ago.
I guess at this point, you should, since you're going to need another meeting about this, plan for the September, the first September.
Okay, that's exactly what
The
I was trying to
second
avoid.
week of
Hoping we
September.
could get-
Hmm?
I was hoping we could get it, the decks cleared today because I see this as, personally, I'd say let's,
Or just leave it to Pat and I.
Yeah.
We could
I-
just leave it to
if
Pat
the
and I.
committee is willing to agree, certainly am just entirely shown that you're what you've presented so far.
We'll get it done.
We can get it done by the end of next week. Give us 10 days and we
And
can,
I think an informal, I would, certainly something I would support.
Approve the
Have any
draft.
agreement?
It's up to town council. Can they get that on the agenda?
I've
Well, I don't think that-
requested it for the August, tentatively to have it on the August agenda, but it's a moving target.
Okay.
Get onto the agenda, so
I think
I'm
we should
sure it
shoot
would
for-
be able to be put on by September.
But I
But
think if we have it in place, you know, things can fall out.
more
But if we-
likely,
you
it
know,
would get
I think The
on.
worry is we just have,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd like to avoid that.
I mean,
But I'd like to
it's-
know how you feel as the committee
it
as
is
well.
it is a requirement, you said it's the county, the county requires like CTAG for it funding. It's not just, without this document, often we can't apply or get measured, some of the money that's available. And the county is some of the easiest money to get, like, you don't want federal money, it's a
Right.
lot of work for staff. So this, the sooner you can get this approved, then the more likely it is we can apply for money.
I guess my question is the prioritization that you have in the document. How much do you feel it's evaluate?
well, I mean, Pat's just brought out the, the cameras. And so maybe we make that higher priority to,
You feel like that's the only one? Because that you can just say
I was
right
gonna
now
say,
as
the
a
one
group
thing-
that we
If
approve.
you forgive the chair, the one thing we can say here changes very clearly.
yeah. And I've seen already some things, typos and sentences, I might say a little bit differently, but I think, yeah, let's edit it. Pat can do it,
That's fine.
executive
So
summary.
the priority change to emphasize,
We need to emphasize our vision and make our objectives very clear. I had separated goals and objectives. The goal is one thing, the objective is measurable. So I'd separated it, and I think that makes it hard to read people. I think it's easier for people to see goal and not.
so that strengthens the initial statement on the document. Is that correct?
Yeah, it just makes the executive. And it also,
So-
I'll merge goal and objective thing as some of the other town plans have done. They've said, this is the goal and this is the measurable objective. Go with it. Easier for people to see that.
So we would place more emphasis in the executive summary. Are there any other specific items that change the priority? Or do anything else that we can then agree this document based on knowing that those changes place?
Thing, fix the vision statement, include the summary, review the map content. Maps are clear and informative. Review the priorities as far as specific projects.
Okay, do you anticipate any,
Yeah, we want to revisit the cameras. Speed zone in the school area. Review the speed limits. Maybe we just keep it at that.
You look concerned. They're mandated to, they're not mandated to 15, but the trend is to go to 15.
So we.
However, I would point out that we haven't had a single school death and none of our accidents around schools.
Anyway,
But as far as us trying to keep it included and open and possible to future, I think we.
definitely,
in there.
absolutely. So,
Thank you very much for your comments. Thank you.
thank you, Helen. So I propose that we accept and recommend the draft local roadway safety to the town council for review. And based on changes in priority on the following points. One is to improve and clarify the vision statement and review the map content. ensure that
Yeah,
the-
I actually and they're all on my computer. It's not a big thing to pull them in.
to
I just decided the report was long enough and
to revise the priority of cam in the document, that's specifically speed cameras, and traffic cameras, and to ensure that potential modification with a nominal 15-mile limit in mind.
I would.
Do I have a
approve.
second for that proposal?
You have a second.
And so now we would take a vote on recommending this document to the town council, pending those changes. That those are understood and will be minuted.
Yeah.
yes, we're voting.
We're voting, so those in
Yeah,
favor,
I'm-
say aye, raise a hand,
Aye.
Aye.
make your devotions. Thank you, that is unanimously carried. Thank you, everyone. No, that's been a long road.
And Angela, if you have a Word version of it, I can kind of,
That's wonderful. Yes, please.
If you can send
always
it to
need
me,
someone
yeah.
else to do it. I do have it in Word. And also, I like it done in because all the numbers and the scripts on the, if we delete it, it's all automatic on the numbering of they're not hard numbers, they're variables. You delete it, if you delete a whole table or bring out,
Oh, nice.
yeah,
I've
I
never-
will email,
never
I
been
will
able to make that
definitely.
work.
Thank you very much. to
Okay.
do that.
So that,
Yeah. Yes, yes. So yeah, Rebecca, what Pat is saying is that we'd like to look at it first before we send it to you. You get a clear.
all right, thank you, everybody. Our next item would be a discussion on signage for wildlife road safety. I know this has come to us. I think we've given this broad support in discussion with other committees. I'd like to at least get to the point where we have a motion to and do some that can then come back to us for a specific review of what might be done. I think we also have to work with conservation and the trails and paths maybe, but definitely conservation.
I think it's been agreed, Pat, if I'm correct, that as you come into our town of Portola Valley, that's where we're gonna place those. Is that correct? Yes. I've been looking at different types of signs. We want to be in accordance with the type of sign we have. It's a wooden sign, very rustic, very town looking rather than city looking. And we want to keep that concept, but I have not seen as far as I'm at this point, but I'm still looking.
Yeah, but if it's a roadway sign, it might. Pattern. One
Well,
thing-
there's two kinds of signs I see. One is at the entrance of town and the other is at a wildlife crossing where you might, I just saw a picture of turkeys and deer on one sign. You
There's
know,
one- somebody put one right up here with the I don't know if you saw, it. Have you seen it?
That's,
On
yeah, on the
Portola-
retaining wall, yeah.
On Portola Road, somebody, it's a yellow sign, it's a warning sign, and it says, mountain lion crossing.
Well, that's where the lion was killed early in the year. So I think I'd had two modes of signage. One warning you about entering a work. Yeah, and that's something you could do kind of in a first phase, quite. And then once you know more information about the proper specific locations, then you can add at the locations where you know what's likely to be, and add emphasis to what you see coming into town and sort of stage.
Yes.
And
yeah.
that's sort of the bite-sized chunks that I think the town could get things organized in
Yeah,
as well.
we do have, deer crossing in certain places in the
Yes, we
town.
do.
Well, those horses.
Well, the horses aren't wild as far as I know. Deer are.
You know, it's an opportunity when you think about it as far as these and traveling and the different signs that you see globally, but like national parks where the signs like really welcoming people into their. I'd love to get that kind of look and feel to it,
Yeah.
but you know, at the same time, maybe we open it up to competition. Maybe this is an opportunity for people that do woodworking, do outdoor.
How about the
things.
kids? Schools.
Exactly. It's just like, maybe we don't have to look at it as a conventional sign. Maybe we look at it as an opportunity to show off our
I
incredible.
think, yeah, absolutely visiting all of them.
Yeah,
I think there's also another potential intended, unintended benefit. People are more likely to show motive response to wildlife. Perhaps it impacts traffic speeds in a better way than just slow down, flashing signs,
exactly.
speed cameras. You appeal to a more emotional bit of people.
Exactly. Let's pull that cord.
So I think there's benefit
Okay.
all the way around.
Yeah.
Two-legged and four-legged one.
And
Yeah.
ain't that the truth?
You-
And
you-
those five-legged.
Yes.
creatures out there, underrepresented.
Could be. Okay, I think without further ado, we're ready. What I'd like to say is we make a recommendation. Chooses to adopt this and perhaps then also include in that, please come back to us as a committee for deliberation on type
Oh,
and
for sure.
location.
Well, wouldn't our motion say that we recommend that at the entry down on Alpine and Portola Road, we have signs?
We could certainly say that. So, all right, well, let's draft our recommendation. The recommendation would be to include safety for wildlife, signs for wildlife road safety be included at the entrances to town on our major routes, and also at specific locations to be determined where wildlife crossing the road is known to be at high frequency.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
And we recommend that the town council adopt that a goal. Okay, do I have a second for my proposal?
I'll second it.
Yeah. Thank you, Angela. And I propose that we vote on that. All those in favor of making that recommendation?
Aye.
Unanimously carried. Thank you. The next item I have on here is event permitting. I don't think I want to get into a big this time if with the committee's agreement, for the time being. Perhaps also safe routes to. I have nothing. Okay. In fact, if with the committee's agreement, I'd like to skip forward to section 7 on event. Just to highlight that we now know a date. That is Saturday, September 20th. And I will start to put out the usual feelers with the Sheriff's Department to establish coverage for that based on our previous plans. And I'll also work with the CERT guys as well, who gave us excellent additional manpower and womanpower.
Is there also a town picnic or is it just? the-
I haven't, is there a picnic association? Yeah, there is. We can, do a little bit of outreach at that, well,
That's where we do our scooter, e-bike
there you go,
education thing.
that'll be good.
I have a question for Rebecca since she's, last night, they had the cultural arts presentation. Did you go? Okay. Angela was there and I was there. And I really liked the parking.
Oh, the,
Oh.
yes, yes.
Okay, did you see the parking situation on Portola Road? Okay, my question to you. There was no cars, and we call the bicycle lane, which is a shoulder lane, no cars at all, which was fantastic as far as I'm concerned, because it doesn't pull those bicyclists in traffic. However, is the conservation committee responsible for allowing those cars to park in that area? That,
And I don't have an answer for that for you because I saw the same thing. I thought during TV Palooza, there was no parking there. It
Oh,
wasn't
this is in the
allowed.
middle, yeah.
So I don't know if one person parked there and then just one person parked there and then
Yes.
everybody just said, oh, it's okay. But
Yeah.
my guess is that it's not. But
I think one thing, and certainly that we saw at Palooza, was a great idea, but unfortunately slightly undie. Like to develop mid-pen to use the meadow on the other side of the entrance driveway.
yeah, I had a meeting yesterday with Midpin, actually. One of the items, they've already created their portion of the council's going to have it part of the ad hoc on our side, and we're going to be together about a variety of issues, mostly related to Hawthorne's historic district. But one of the items also at kind of lower priority right now, but on one of the 3 or 4 items is sort of traffic, ideas with traffic. So that's something that would definitely be included in there, be able to use.
Certainly a good bargaining chip,
Sorry?
potentially a good bargaining chip with some of.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, Woodside Patrol had the parking under control. Okay, so Woodside Patrol were telling people where to park. And I had suggested that they park up Family Farm Road, and the Woodside Patrol guy said, but the residents like it, but there are not many. You can get about 30 cars up there, okay?
It is public streets.
And that was my point. That's exactly my point to this
They-
Woodside Patrol guy. So he said they were sending them to the Catholic church. So the Christchurch car park overflowed. And so the guy and people. And so there were 2 guys from Woodside Patrol there and they were sending them down. He said, well, there's the Catholic and Presbyterian church are our next priorities. Okay, so I was telling people to park
Oh,
across
thank
the
you.
road in Family Farm Road.
I would comment that Golden Oak is also. Anyway, moving towards a conclusion here.
But could I quickly comment on the Zots to Tots race?
Oh, yeah.
Does the BPTS, handle all the logistics ats and,
No, we do
No.
not. That is Parks and Recs.
oh, okay.
Patty, Dews, and Karen Ask. Oh, we're working on that.
Okay,
Lucia. I
so I'll
think
just send
hand
them
it
a
over
note.
to Karen Ask.
Like, one of the ways that we could save some money in terms of budget is and then not hand out participation trophies to adults. But maybe that's
I think
Oh, I like-
everybody gets a trophy as a
I'm totally
become a ridiculous
extrinsically.
plastic trash that everybody throws away.
unless someone absolutely wants one.
We've already all won because we. All right. Does anybody want to bring up any last
Yes,
things?
I've got another thing. I'd like to make out the bulb outs on the Alameda. I think this is the county doing it, but it may also go into other Redwood City. I'm not sure. But on the Alameda from Woodside Road to Santa Cruz Avenue, bulb outs are being put into the bike lane. And so now the bike lane will curve. I have a friend who's a cyclist. She and her husband, who is also a cyclist, were driving along the Alameda and they said, have you seen the bulb outs there? One may remember that 50 people went to the town council of Menlo Park after they bulb out on Santa Cruz Avenue, and they had to pull out the engineering that they had done. This is an absolute disaster for anyone cycling. I actually looked up the traffic things. Someone was knocked down there, but there have also been a couple of bicycle accidents. I think a lot more bicycles go along the Alameda.
Well,
And-
the other thing that's happening in the situation is that cars are parking in what had been a safe bike lane. Now they're thinking, oh, this is a safe place for me to park my
But
car.
the irony here is that is bike route,
Yeah.
and so you do that.
Well, on,
It's not labeled, there's there's no red
no,
curb.
Yeah,
but,
but-
no, but,
There's no indication that.
no,
Right,
they
you can
wanted
park.
people to park. Santa Cruz wanted people arrow in the middle of the road. I mean, that is the design of Menlo Park, and that is one thing. But these bulb outs, I mean, I cycled back from the July 4th parade in Redwood City, and I'm going along the bike lane, and a concrete mass in front of me. So I have to look in my mirror. I see a car behind me. Oh, help. I have to pull out. I actually have to stop because there's a car right on my tail. It doesn't know that it's got out because it's just new road things. And my friend was driving along. 3 cyclists had to go out in front of the car. And okay, they're going to paint it green, but where they've put the tarmac for this new bike lane, it's actually raised. It actually makes it even more horrible for a bike. And so I do think I wrote a letter to the Almanac. I told the Silicon Valley Bike Coalition to get. They may actually like it, but I mean, it is an absolute death trap for us.
Have you been on Woodside Road lately? What they've done there?
I went down Woodside Road all the way to Middlefield, where Middlefield has a separated bike lane. The green lane going down Woodside.
Right, but on the right side where the parking area is, next to the sidewalk area, they've put stanchions all along that
Well, they put
whole
those safe
area now to keep the
Plastic
people.
trim stuff, over,
Exactly.
which means you have a bike lane that you can't clean.
So what does how does that concern us?
It doesn't.
It's just another feature is all I'm saying, but
It's outside our
saying
sphere of influence.
something to
so-
think about. when we're
Okay.
Yeah, I
Different
actually
kind of
enjoyed.
strategies.
I actually enjoyed going road, and you're right about not being able to. But actually, normally I don't like those.
Okay.
But
All
actually-
right. Well, I think we're not going to fix all the world's problems.
No.
Only listen to the world to be a better place. But if there are no more items, I'm sorry we had to skip over some things. Thank you, everybody.
I have one other question.
Last thing, please.
They're doing a lot of construction at the Priory. I was not informed about Gambetta. Is that going to be an entrance there?
Yeah, I think it's the planning commission, certainly.
Maybe we should address
They're
that.
building a new gym.
Yeah,
So they're putting in a new road. They're rechanging the whole circulation flow within the Priory. So they're having the road go from Gambetta across that meadow behind. So it's gonna take a lot of the traffic out of there, out into their, route it around.
Well,
So the flow should be better with respect to coming to
we-
Woodside, to Portola Road, but yeah, definite change.
This was the subject, this was a prompt for one of the priorities. Currently, domestic driveways fall under our purview, but a large project like that with a commercial or a institutional roadway change doesn't come past BPTS.
So maybe that's again, like as a recommendation that major projects come through you. If it's not exactly spelled out in the chart, consider adding it and then
Hmm.
going back through the same process
I
as you
think
went
that'll be a charter debate for,
another time.
all right. If there's nothing further, I'd like to declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody. Patience.
Thanks,
time
Ed.
And your.
Thank you.
Thank you.